Well, hello, all my little bunnies and dinos tonight, and pretty princesses. Daisy here, well, I'm wearing Barney's body, because I just did a video in him, and a pretty blue satin dress because, well, it was fun, and it was there, and I wanted to wear it. So I did. Uh, you've probably already seen that particular video by now, so don't be too shocked that happened, because it's already happened. It's in the past. Old news. Anyway, we're going to do a game thought tonight. This is actually a more recent game. Well, not too recent, but recent enough. That would be Digimon Cyber Sleuth. Or Digimon Story. Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. Ta-da! I just call it a really fun Digimon game on the PS4. um, so, this is going to involve spoilers because, well, it's impossible not to spoil this game a little bit as I talk about it. Alright, so, it was definitely a very good Digimon game. Very much a good collecting the Digimon game, too, kind of similar to Pokemon, but not the same way. So, spoiler alert warning has been put up. Now, spoilers are going to randomly be intertwined in my story because, a description of this, because it's kind of hard not to. So, this game involves a virtual reality environment that people go into, and that's just a normal thing apparently in this world. Now, if you something bad happens to you in this environment, you could potentially get lost. So that's kind of the first part of this. People were going kind of like comatose because of stuff that was happening to them in this digital world. Digimon weren't initially a big part of this. They were from another area, and they ended up invading this virtual world that people were going into. To start the game off, you end up going into a coma. You don't know this really right away, but that's how it actually starts. You get attacked, you end up in a coma, and someone reformats you and pulls you out of the digital world as solid data. Kind of weird, but this is a Digimon game, so reality kind of is a fluffy technicality. Because you're digital, you can go to any internet source point and download yourself into the digital world or the virtual world or whatever, and transport around. This is pretty convenient. Very early on, of course, you get a Digimon to go with you, your first Digimon. Yay! And that Digimon is your first fighter. He gains levels, and it has a max level of start. This is weird. What's going on? Well, you can evolve it. Good, good, cool. This also increases its max level. That's kind of cool. All right, awesome. But it doesn't necessarily have enough to evolve to the next level. It can't actually get to enough levels to evolve the second. What? Oh, you could de-evolve. Then you give him more potential level points. And you could level up even further on this stage, getting you more level up points when the next time you evolve, and then you might be able to get to the next evolve. And there's other side evolution options. You don't just have... Digimon doesn't always have a straight line. You don't just have a, level 1, level 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. You have level 1, some level 2s, of those, some level 3s, and level 4s, a whole array at this point. you start going up a tree. Sometimes the trees intertwine in different ways, but almost any Digimon can end up being any other type of Digimon, as far as I can tell, assuming you've unlocked them, done whatever necessary things are in the quests, etc., etc. All of the little extra caveats as to why or why not you could evolve must have been met. You also have to sometimes have certain stats be high enough, certain stats be low enough. Generally, it's high enough on anything. So if you just grind and grind and grind and perfect a monster eventually, you're going to be able to master stuff as much as you really want. But some things do have limits, so you may have to have something train up its strength intensely and get that maxed out as it's leveling up, as opposed to letting its intelligence get anything, so that it will have what it needs to do to become that one particular critter you want it to be. It's complicated. It's complicated. It's complicated. Anyway, you spend a lot of this game evolving critters and devolving them. Evolving into something else just because, well, I just want some variety in my day. I'll be Digitamamon for a day because I know it's a dead end tree, but at least I can be an egg for today. Stuff like that. And you learn more long-term abilities on these Digimon. They get stronger, they get more interesting, and they eventually get to their max potential levels, and then turn into whatever it is you want them to be in the long run. This is good. So that's part of how that works. Now, how to get more Digimon in and of itself is interesting. You don't capture Digimon. You acquire data of them, which means you just have to fight them. Oh, that's easy. I'll just go fight all the Digimon. Some Digimon aren't very common. Well, that sounds nice. Oh, but they may be common somewhere else. Okay, that's better. And most of the time, you can eventually just work your way up to them from any given specific baby type, though the extremely small ones. So, as you take out bad guys, the smaller levels they are, the quicker you fill up the percentage bar needed to create one. The bigger, the more evolved they are, it takes more kills if you want to basically start at, ultimate or champion or whatever, than it does to get, wow, I got Pabumon. That only took like 2 kills. Yay me! So, once you have managed to fill up the bar to at least 100%, notice I said at least, you can use that data to create that Digimon. And wow, I got a Pabumon. Okay, yay me. But if you want to be smart about it, you want to save up a little bit. You can get that bar all the way up to 200%. Then whatever, the higher the percentage bar is, the cooler your Digimon is when it comes into creation. Say 100% maxes its level out to start off at like 7. But if you go to 200%, your start level might be like 12. So you get a leg up, and you can more quickly get this particular Digimon up to being useful. Because oftentimes when you start these ones off, it's like, wow, okay, you exist. And I got you up to level 7. I evolve you, and I definitely can't evolve you again. I'm going to have to devolve you. Okay. Now I'm going to level you up again to 12 now. I can evolve you. I still can't do anything with you past that. Go back to start. And you do this for a while. It does make for some interesting grinding. You do get to at least experience different creatures because you can evolve to a slightly different version of something else as you're trying to train yourself upwards. And it gets some variety in attacks and things that way too, so definitely good. and you get to experience a large amount of the Digimon tree and make some decisions on what kind of critters you're interested in seeing actually finish evolved. Um, there's a wide variety out there. There really is a large amount of critters in this. And as you go through the game, stuff gets pretty weird. Digimon stuff splashed in the real world at some point. There's a lot of crossover. Uh, there's a lot of really cool story bits. I don't want to spoil too much. I'm doing my best. Um, but there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on, a lot of cool conversations you get with people. And some extra sub-worlds. And I don't remember for sure if I actually finished the game or if Autumn just finished the game, because a lot of RPG stuff, we may play it both at the same time, but oftentimes when one of us gets to the actual boss and finishes it, the other one doesn't really have as much gumption to finish the last boss as much as they want to just finish everything up to there. Go figure. We've done this with several RPG games too, so it's not just one or two, it's like several. um, but there's a lot of cooler kind of end game kind of content. You don't necessarily have to actually finish to get to this stuff, but then you'll at the very end you have the option to work up to get some of the high level knights as things you can evolve into, like Omnimon or Centaurimon. I can't remember all their names. Anyway, all these high level knights. They're unlocked at the top of their chains once you can defeat them. And then there's another chain where you have to defeat all of the demons, because there are several high-level Digimon demon types that are in the game. And you have to defeat them to be able to evolve into them. I think that was the last thing I was working on when I stopped playing. I think it was Lucymon that I was on. And his tiny form is so bold. Finding ways to not say this in a swear word fashion. Hard. He is kick the bum hard at stage 1. And you have to, in a cycled battle, beat all of his forms. And if the first small version of him is bad, think about his mega real bad. So I know a lot of those were pretty tough to get through, but they were endgame kind of bonus mission content, so I can't complain like, oh, they made the game hard. No, they actually put in hard stuff for people that really wanted it. So if that's what you want out of life, you got it. Enjoy. Have the hard. The actual game itself wasn't too bad. You didn't have to grind a lot. In fact, you could just probably pick up your first half a dozen critters and actually use them for the majority of the game and just level them up, and you'd be fine. You can end up with quite a variety out of just those few, um, and watch them get bigger and cooler. Now, you are limited on how much Digimon you can carry on you at a given time. And throughout the game, as you progress in story, you get more data space. Now, a smaller Digimon takes up less data space when you're carrying it around. Like, say, a little Pabumon. He's going to take up a tiny amount of space. Now, you can pretty early get to something pretty big. So let's just say, for some reason, you manage to get upwards of an Omnimon. All right, you got an Omnimon here. He takes up a lot of space. You might, in the very beginning, you could probably just barely squeeze him into your size. So you're not going to have any other critters with you, but you got that one with you. So, kind of a given release here. You can't necessarily have your stuff all at max evolve when you have a data limit and you want to raise levels on other Digimon. Um, because all the ones you carry around with you could potentially be gaining experience so that they could potentially level up and be used later on. Evolve into other things, because the further along the game you may want to have not just a team of one really good Digimon. I do pretty much guarantee you need more than the 3 that you're going to have out at any given time. Because stuff gonna die. Fortunately, it's not permadeath in this one. It's not that Digimon game. I have that one. I haven't tried it yet because I'm just scared of the permadeath. But yeah, you're going to want to train up a few extra guys so you can have a backup team. Have a team of guys ready to roll at any given moment. Now, you have 3 Digimon out at any given time, assuming you've gotten 3 by now. And then you have potentially, I can't remember if it was 6 or so. I think it's 6 you have in your box with you. Now, you could also have more back at your home base on the Digimon farm, training. And you can have a certain number in your bank. So you also have those ones that are stored. Stored Pokemon, active Pokemon, Pokemon on the farms. Farms are training, so they will keep leveling up their stats. Bank, nothing happens to them, they just exist. Party, they're getting experience because you're actively using them. Killing stuff and whatever. Yeah, this game is really complicated. But I did have a lot of fun with it. A ton of fun. I grinded a lot when I was bored. And I did do a lot of story plot here and there as I felt ready, as I wasn't just watching something on YouTube and happening to grind on Digimon at the same time. That's one of the ways I do roll. I do like to multitask. Play a mindless grind, watch something funny on the YouTube. I'm having 2 kinds of entertainment and enjoying myself. And apparently losing my voice. So this was definitely a fun one. I had a blast. The environments were really cool. The city was awesome. The mall you lived in was neat. It was definitely the futuristic mall that was what a mall was initially dreamed to be, an entirely contained society with people living, working, eating, shopping, all in one facility. So that was the concept of the main location. Um, the actual story plot, which I'm trying best not to spoil too much of, was pretty coherent. It made a lot of sense. It flowed, and I never felt like I was just having to figure it out as I went. It made every little bit we learned helped me feel like I was actually sleuthing my way through this puzzle that was being given to me. Even though the game kind of gives it to you as you go, you're just hearing the answer to the story. The fact that it was slowly feeding it to you, you got to think about it as you're going through what's going on, what's happening next, where am I going to be. It was a cool mystery novel, effectively, to play through with Digimon. And the visuals were awesome. PS4 graphics worked great for this. The Digimon looked great on the screen. The characters, the anime people you were, looked perfectly good. The environments were beautiful. The mall was so real. I wanted to go visit this mall and just go up and down the escalators. Um, I wanted to hang out at the coffee shop. It was cool. It was a really neat place. Um, and yeah, if you're into Pokemon and Digimon type games like that, monster raising games, this is a great one. I would actually recommend it over a Pokemon game. And I've probably spent way too many hours playing Pokemon games. But this had a much better story than any Pokemon game I'd ever played. It had good TV level, actual good console graphics. The characters were great. The concept was great. The way you got more critters was so streamlined, so made sense. You didn't have to worry about carrying catch devices or anything. You just had to go out there and keep battling till you killed enough Greymons, and you've got Greymon ability to just go new man. I want a Greymon. Done. Um, so yeah, wholeheartedly, this was fun. Um, so I can't think of too much else to say about this one, honestly. I probably could say way too much about it and spoil the game, but I think I've said enough to actually give a good opinion on it. So, did you play this game? Did you have a favorite Digimon you like to be or have on your party in this game? Um, did you enjoy yourself or did you hate it? Good, bad, or otherwise, I'd love to hear in the comments what your feelings on this game were. Um, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Ring the little dingly bell. It lets you know when I post new videos about silly stuff like this fun game. And my Patreon link is in the description box below. Speaking of which, since one of my patrons has been asking for those, I have been trying to blow kisses every single video I remember. So, if you've seen them, that's why. Fan friendly. Do things for my Patreons. If you're one of those people, I try and succeed and do what you ask. And of course, every bit paid into my Patreon does help support the channel. Helps me buy silly things like Barney costumes, fabric to make dresses, camera equipment, audio equipment, Legos to put on display and talk about, whatevs, costume bits, things, stuff to help make a better channel, fabric to help make new costumes like Daisy's new hand. I'm busy working on there. That's the one I'm actually sewing on right now. So, yeah. Anyway, this little bun thanks you for watching, and I hope you all have a fantabulous rest of your day. And think pretty bunny thoughts from me. Bye-bye now, cuties.